All right, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world, whenever you're seeing this. Thank you very much for being here. My name is Ms. Tara, and I am here to teach happiness. This is upon request. This is my beautiful dog, King of Reason. Anyway, he's getting a little snooze, so we'll just get started this morning. I have some cards. This is Pep Talk number 4 on happiness. I don't really have a massive agenda of like things to sell or anything like that. I'm really just for real deal here to talk about happiness. I'm the author of several books, including Danzen, which is the health and happiness, right? It's we dance for health and happiness. Can you see that? We dance for health and happiness. Okay. So I'll tell you a little bit more about it today, because it's part of one way that you can use to be happy. So I'm skilled in many things. I'm very wise, probably, well, I don't know if I'm older than all of you, but have many more years on my students who are much younger. And so I try to incorporate the wisdom into the teachings. I'd rather not say all of the, what is the word? Tragedies, uh, uh, things that I've experienced in life would be probably comparable to things that you read about on the news. And I have, this is why I'm making today's video, number 4, Pep Talk, and that is about overcoming. My focus is on happiness. Happiness is not something that just falls into your lap. It's something that you're working on. And so that's what we're going to talk about, rather than the Hard Knocks University. We won't dwell on those. We'll dwell on the wisdom. I'm so blessed to be here with you. Let me just say, I feel, what's the word? Embarrassed to discuss the magnitude of the things that I've, let's get you a picture here, been through. And frankly, it's really not relevant. But whatever your question is, whatever you've been through, whatever you want to know, chances are I can help you. So please put your question or your need into the comments box, and I will attempt to answer it either directly or with a video. I do have a website, and I'll put that in the box below. I do want to respond and to be as helpful as possible. So today's pep talk is about overcoming, okay? And then you can say, oh, I've overcome, because it's so much. Sometimes life is so much that it's just, you're just overcome and you just need to go to sleep. So I understand that. And some of the things that things that we need to overcome is betrayal. Betrayal can sometimes be one of those things that you pretend didn't really happen. So you can read more about that or learn more about that. Sometimes we pretend it didn't happen. We try to be strong, and that's good. That's good. We're trying to be strong, but it's not really what real happiness is. So grief and loss, I mean, those things happen to everyone in this life. And so it's kind of interesting, there's so much grief that happens in this life. You would think we would know how to deal with it a little bit better than we do, but uh, that's not always the case. It can be very, very hard to overcome a grief or a loss. So we'll talk about that a little bit today. Um, I am extremely empathetic to all situations. At the same time, I'm a Jackie Chan fan, and he says, it's not that you got knocked down, it's that you get up again. Yeah, and getting up again is not sometimes easy. It takes work. So that's what we're going to talk about today, getting back up again. There's three things we're going to talk about. Well, I'm going to actually, since this is a video, I'll be talking about it. I'll be talking about three things. And one is movement. We'll talk about Danzen a little bit. And one is about thinking the opposite. Thinking the opposite. Thinking the opposite of what we were thinking. It's so easy when you get knocked down to think sad thoughts. It can be overwhelming. Your stomach can be turning. It can be really hard to focus your mind. And so it can be a little bit easier if you consider thinking the opposite. Because people, come on, guys. People will often try to, use this concept of like, well, it's kind of a psychology, Freud. I'm going to talk about it, or I'm going to tell you my past, and that's going to heal me because I'm going to vent and then release, and that's understandable, but actually it doesn't really work, because what happens is that beyond the just like, oh my gosh, I just watched someone, whatever, pass away or whatever, beyond the immediate, knowledge of your tragedy or trauma or loss or grief or betrayal, it can tend to like pile up, and your focus goes on the past. So how do you do that? That's a very interesting point. And then the third one is feel the love. So I am going to just focus on those for a few moments now. The first one is movement. Movement. Okay. So movement is so important. Movement. This is a dancer's guidebook. Danzen is short for dancing Zen style. And it just simply means I am not a practitioner of Zen. Somebody, well, that's not true. I am a practitioner of Zen, perhaps unwittingly. I mean, it's not part of my cultural heritage to know about Zen. Okay, it's from a part of a world that, however, dance is part of all cultures, and particularly my culture, which is Celtic culture, definitely involves movement and dancing. And it's short for dancing Zen style. And why it's called that is because Zen is the art of being in the present moment. And I don't know another word that really expresses that concept so well. Zen is the art of being in the present moment. And this type of dance is therapeutic healing art, and it is for you. It's for you. It's just between you and the Lord, or you and your friends, or you, or whatever your belief system or lack of it. It's movement that is not performance based. So even though I might show you some things about Danzen that you can do, and I will teach it to you, it is not a performance based type of dance. So you should feel very comfortable in doing whatever type of movement heals your body and allows you to express yourself artistically. So there really is no wrong answer. So I'll read you the first. Okay. Dance feeds the soul. Okay. So dance is in every culture. And yes, it can be movements that are choreographed, but it can also be movements of everyday life, stirring, walking, tapping, hugging, looking. You know, I studied tap dance. That's a long story. I studied tap. I'll tell you more about it later, but essentially what I learned is that movement is sound that's all around. So you can find those movements that resonate with the parts of your body to help them heal and grow. And that's what Danzen is all about. So if you'd like to know more about it, please put it in the chat box. I have always wanted to teach it, but it's been interesting since it's not a performance based. How do I teach it? How do I bring it to you? You can find danzen.net. You can find me at danzen.net if you want to. And we can talk much, much more about the parts of the body and healing your body with the healing art of movement. So for now, on this pep talk, what I'd just like you to do is to consider the concept of moving your body through space. Just become a little bit more aware, or a lot more aware of moving, how your body is moving through space and the parts of your body. You have your hands, and let's talk a little bit about your head, right? You can do, I will give you one of the most lovely exercises of Danzen. There are so many different choreographies that you can do for your health, and I will be teaching those to you. But what you can do to start off with is I would like you to practice your yes and no. Okay, yes and no. So, okay, of course, yes and no. Just want you to be aware of your body saying yes and saying no. And it doesn't mean that no is not one of those things that denies or pushes away. It's a choice. It's a choice. What do you want into your space? What do you want into your world? Yes? Yes? I want good things. I want happy things. I want some pizza. All right, yes and no. Okay. I'm saying that about pizza because you know what? I don't know anybody. I've never had a student. If you don't know, I'm also a teacher. I've never had a student who didn't like pizza. So, all right. So let's talk about the second thing, which is think the opposite. Okay. So this is a really interesting practice. Think the opposite. Okay. So think the opposite is like you get up, you go to work, you're with your friends, they're going to tell you some bad news. Think the opposite. Okay. Now, I'm not saying do not have empathy for immediate tragedies that go on. you need to be there, you need to be the person who's there for the people with the hug, for real. That is so important. But I'm talking about the venting and the repeating, like I mentioned before. So in those cases, I want you to practice today for this pep talk. Think the opposite. Okay, let me give you a real life example. I have students, and those students are studying the Civil War. Okay, so you can look at the Civil War and it's terrible. We had slavery, it was awful. There isn't anything worse than the horrors that were committed during slavery. Okay, other than other horrors that were committed during other forms of slavery and war, and it's just terrible. To put somebody, oh my God, to put somebody in a situation where they're lied to, they're betrayed, they're told that they're working and that their money is, payback for their travel because they're starting a new life or whatever, or they're simply captured and trafficked, all of that. It's terrible. Okay. It's terrible. No question about it. But I want you to think about the opposite for a second. Okay. I want you to think about the fact that thousands of people died to end slavery. To end slavery. Think about that. Okay. So you can think about it's terrible to have slavery, or you can think about the thousands of people that gave their lives to end slavery, and their belief and their sacrifice, their ultimate sacrifice to end slavery. There's two ways to think about it, right? Right? You can think about World War II, and you can think about the Nazis. Okay, maybe I'm not allowed to say that on. You can think about the bad people that committed crimes, or you can think about the good people who wrote and followed the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Right? We would not have the Universal Declaration of Human Rights if World War II and its tragedies and the sacrifices that were made. Okay. Eleanor Roosevelt, President Roosevelt, and the leaders of countries all over the world said, that's it. There will be no more taking away the rights of human beings. Okay. And then they listed out the rights of the human beings. And you can learn more about it if you look up the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. If you don't know anything about it, it's the basis of international law. So those are just two ways. But what about in a real life, everyday situation, where maybe someone rejected you or betrayed you? I know it has happened to me on such a heavy level that it's almost hard to comprehend. I can look at that, and surely I do need to process it, because sometimes what we do, especially when we're younger, is we just pretend that it didn't happen. Oh, I had this assault or whatever, that I'll just pretend like it didn't happen, or that it really wasn't that bad because I'm so strong. And that's great, but it is a pretense. So there are some times when you're going to have to unravel what did happen. And if it happened in the past, it may take a little bit to unravel it. But what I want you to focus on is, once you do know, the opposite. Look at the opposite, right? What didn't happen because you were in that traffic jam for 4 hours? What accident did not happen because you were there? What opportunities, what did you learn? Not easy. Not easy. Not easy to do. If you have any questions about it, please put it in the chat box, and I'm happy to answer your questions. The last one is, I want you to focus on feeling the love. Okay. Now, there is a lot of noise and all the things and the television and all that, and I get that. I really do. And it may be the only time that you can really feel the love is when you're snuggled up in your bed and you're like finally getting ready for sleep. Or maybe in the middle of the night while you are sleeping, or first thing in the morning when you wake up. Would you just take a moment and realize that you can feel the love? Now, I could go on for hours about the beautiful, angelic, or spirit beings, or divas, or many belief systems that discuss the love. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to bridge some cultural divides. It might be different for you, might come in a different form. I'm an interfaith minister, so whatever form it comes in, whatever form love is coming in, whether it's a physical love or a non-physical love. I made a video, I think it was last week, about love, and I'll probably make some more because it is the most important subject of all. I want you to take some time to feel the love and recognize that it really is the love. Okay, just take a little bit of magic sprinkle dust into your life, just a little bit, and let yourself realize that it really is the love. Okay, and whether you're feeling it from your pet or your tree or your plant or your own heart or all of these physical world manifestations are like channels by which you can like tap into the love, right? So I'm really hoping that you'll just take a few moments, and when you're sleeping or when you're first waking up, and recognize that you are loved. There is nobody on this earth who is not loved. And those love vibrations may not be visible. So don't get discouraged just because it's not in the form of a person that is lying next to you in the bed and telling you all these wonderful things. Okay. It can very well be a non-physical, although it might also come in the form of many forms. Okay, so on that note, I'm going to read you a poem that I made for you today. Okay, love comes to me, an embrace in my sleep, the smile of a friendly pet raises me from the deep. There is nothing better than you. Nothing better, nothing better than you. Okay, looking out with loving eyes. Nothing better than you. Right? Anybody wants to write music to these beautiful lyrics? Drop me a line and I'll be happy to write a song with you. I love writing songs. Nothing better than you. Love filled the skies, blue and white, and flight of the heron and the eagle and the wren. Oh, the wren are those little ones, the ones about this big, and you can sometimes get some breadcrumbs and throw them out. And the wren, those little guys, they'll come because they're always hungry. The trees that bend to greet you, look around. The earth surrounds. Here, I'm gonna show you my clickety pop here. And that's my little clickety pop. Okay, great. Look around. The earth surrounds you. Bless you. I was going to do a reading today about the animals, but I think that we'll just leave it where it's at. We got the king here. He's the Lamb of God incarnate. Are you the Lamb of God incarnate? Yes, it says, I have a little piece of me. I have a little piece of all that in me. Yes, we all do. And I just want to tell you that it's going to be okay. You are very loved. This is Pep Talk number 4. And please leave me a message if you'd like some help with something. And I'll talk to you next time. Pep Talk number 5. Thank you. Okay, hold on while we get this going here.